You've selected the right show to listen to in order to become the best salesperson you can be. We literally listen to actual in-home sales presentations of salesmen at all different levels to show you precisely how to close more deals and what to avoid. I'm your host, Alex Mark. I built a sales-based home improvement company from $0 to $20 million in 2 years and then sold it to private equity. And I'm here to help you become the best salesperson you can be and put more money in your pocket. Welcome back to another episode of the First Call Closer podcast. Today, our sales trainer to my left is Justin Mills. Justin started out over 10 years ago selling metal roofing, siding, windows, doors, all that type of stuff. Worked his way through the trenches as a sales rep to a sales manager and is now the national sales manager for a $150 million a year company. Wow. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you.
To my right, we have D'Angelo, who has been a sales rep now for 3 years, actually started out in production, installing the product, moved his way up to now being a sales rep for the last 3 years. If we look at your stats for this year so far in 2024, we're about 4 months in. You so far have just over $600,000 in sales, a 46% close rate, and a $1,964 NSLI. Are those pretty good stats, Justin, for what you would look for in one of your sales reps?
The slug rate's a little low. I mean, I'd like to see that over $2,000, but
It's close.
It's close. It's really close. So I mean, I'll let that one slide. But the closing percentage is phenomenal.
Right where you want it to be.
Yep.
Where is your target for your sales reps? What do you want to see their closing percentage at in order for them to be employed with you?
40% is what I want to see. In order to maintain employment, I won't tolerate less than 35.
Less than 35. All right, awesome. Well, before we get into the real recording, the main piece of this show, I've got the question I ask everybody to start off with. So, Justin, for you, when you're looking to hire a new sales rep, you've hired hundreds, maybe even into the thousands at this point of sales reps over the years.
It's been a lot.
What is the number one indicator you look for when determining if that person would be successful or not in sales?
Honestly, just being able to carry on a conversation. It's the most important part because the knowledge of what you sell is something that you can learn as you go. Being competent enough to carry on a conversation with somebody that you're just meeting and being able to keep the conversation moving, that's a skill you can't teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, D'Angelo, on your side, someone that is successful at selling, right? 46% close rate, that's definitely something we can all agree on is successful. What would you say is the number one thing that makes you successful when you go into the home and you're closing 46% of the people you visit with?
I mean, like Justin said, you got to be a personable person. You got to be able to talk to people, stuff like that. But I think the knowledge helps too, the experience and all that.
The knowledge. Now, would you say being in production maybe aided in some of that ahead of time? Did that give you a leg up having actually done the install? Do you talk about that a lot in your appointments?
I sometimes do. I don't want to look like I'm
He
bragging
used to do
or
it a
something.
lot more.
I did. I really did. But now, after listening to Rilla, I can say it's been good. I let the customer talk more. So if they ask, I'm telling them. But other than that, I'm not telling them.
Now, it's interesting with Justin. I don't know if the audience heard that you jumped in and said he used to do it a lot more. I've talked to a lot of sales reps or people in production that oftentimes think, well, I installed this product. I'm going to be the best at selling it, right? Because I know how to do it. I know how to be the install. They're going to look at me as the expert. So if you were going from that mind frame, that frame of mind, you would think that you should talk about it. Why should you not necessarily hone in on, I used to be an installer when you're in sales?
Because I think it becomes detail oriented and you're too focused on what you used to do and the things that you used to see and how you would fix problems and the things that you have done rather than trying to get down to the root of the issue of why you're there in the first place. So it's situational awareness when it comes to that. And if you give someone too much detail to the point where they get confused, they don't understand things, then they're never going to feel confident enough to tell you yes to be able to get that deal done anyway.
So what I'm hearing you saying is not always being the expert in knowing everything and sharing everything can be beneficial. You want to have that information in your back pocket, but it's more important to know when to use it than to just have it and hear something and spit out every bit of information in detail at them.
Yeah, because at that point, you're just word vomiting.
Yeah.
You're telling them a bunch of shit that doesn't matter to them. It doesn't mean anything to them. If you can just answer the questions that they have, solve a problem that they have, and give them enough detail to feel comfortable with you getting this project done and gaining their trust in doing it, then you'll sell it every time. But if you drown them out with facts and confuse them, then they don't even know what you're talking about or if it's even something that they want or need.
You know, it's interesting thinking about a lot of sales reps come out of training, right? And they'll kill it the first week or two. They do really well, and you're like, yeah, this guy is awesome. You guys are laughing because I mean, maybe that happened to you too. Like you get
it's
out
a
there.
Conversation I have in every single training class.
Now, why does that happen? Does that have anything to do with when you first get out, you don't know much?
That's exactly why it happens.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's exactly why it happens, because when you sit in training, you learn just as much as you can absorb. And most reps going through a training retain less than 46% of what they hear and what they are told. So you remember less than half of it. So then they have just enough information to be able to get their point across inside of a demo and solve a problem. And that's why they're great when they start. But then as they progress, they keep learning and keep gathering information and keep getting more and more facts and details. And then when they incorporate all that, thinking that they're doing something more and they're going that extra mile and they're giving just a little bit more detail and a little bit more information, then you start to see what we call the sophomore slump. And you literally just tank because you're giving too much information to the point, like I said earlier, that you're giving too much detail where they don't feel comfortable telling you yes. If you just keep it simple the entire time, that shit would never happen. But in turn, you keep learning and keep gaining more knowledge, and you feel like you have to keep giving it.
Right. The knowledge isn't necessarily the bad thing. It's understanding when the right time to deploy that knowledge is, when to pull that tool
awareness.
out. Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. We're going to get into your recording for today, D'Angelo. Are you ready for this? You've seen a few episodes, so
I'm nervous.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Yeah. We're going to definitely take some key learnings away from here today. That's hopefully going to take that 46% to a 50% plus, right? Result in getting that NSLI where Justin wants it to be.
It might be 55 now.
55.
All right. You pulled these numbers today, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is real.
Yeah.
Well,
real
it's
time.
It's
real. I pulled them this morning.
If you do, but yeah.
Oh, semantics. Here we go.
Yeah. Before we get into the recording, as I always say, voices have been changed, so D'Angelo might sound a little different. Now, the customer, on the other hand, well, here, before we get into that, this appointment was 46 minutes long. Would you say that's an average appointment?
I'd say that is about some go hour, some go hour and a half. Obviously, if it's 46 minutes, that's kind of short.
That's kind of short for you?
Is,
okay.
Which there's times where it's shorter, but you kind of feel and go what the customer gives you.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes they kick you out.
45 to 50 minutes is about the average appointment.
For what you guys are selling.
Yeah, for the coatings portion of it, 45 to 50 minutes.
Gotcha. Now, I got to say, listening to this appointment, it was a pretty impressive appointment to me. Not in the way you might think. Impressive in what I saw on Rilla for the talk ratio. I thought it was wrong, to be honest. I thought Rilla maybe messed up, and I was like, this analytics can't be right. But then I actually broke it down and put the transcript in to look at what the ratios were. And man, you talked 91% of the time in this appointment.
Holy shit.
91. The customer talked for 9% of the time. So out of that 46 minutes, you basically talked for 40 minutes of it. If I'm doing my
too
quick
much
math,
information,
right?
It sounds like.
I mean,
was this a sale or was this not?
Probably not if I talk that much.
It was not a sale.
Oh, buddy.
It was not a sale.
Be interesting to remember who it was.
We'll be, when we get into Justin and you hear how this went and hear a bit of the customer's interaction, I think you'll say, yeah, this probably should have been a sale, though.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to jump in
Let's do this.
Pretty early on in this conversation. This is at one minute and 50 seconds
water in here.
All right. So this is, again, we're just at the 2-minute mark. Appointment really just started. You got over your, hey, hello, hi, I'm D'Angelo. I'm customer, blah, 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 blah. And here's how we start off the appointment.
Polyurea, and then that's the base coat. From there, we apply the acrylic chip. So that's where you get the color and the texture. The last step of it is the polyaspartic top coat. So the top coat is really what protects your floor in the long run, because all this kind of stuff is just from parking your vehicle on there.
Yeah.
So our coatings are salt resistant, chemical resistant, abrasion, so when you're driving in and out, you're not gonna have to worry about them chipping or peeling. Yeah. Pretty simple process, but then again, when you do so many jobs like we do, it kind of becomes like clockwork. Yeah. Oh yeah. Any certain colors you saw that kind of sparked your interest out here?
See that? You just,
Is that how you usually start out an appointment?
well, hearing it back, because it's when you're thinking about, you're saying it, it sounds okay, but when you hear it back, it's like, that doesn't sound that good.
So I'm impressed with, we're how many minutes into this appointment?
Not even 2.
Not even 2 minutes, and you're already talking about the process portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
You just went straight for it.
Straight for it.
I mean, you weren't warming up. You didn't tell anything about asking if you can do an inspection, about telling a company story to get some sort of credibility with it. I mean, you basically ripped the clothes off and went right in. I mean, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Weird you didn't buy.
Yeah, hearing it
Yeah.
back, it sounds like it.
Besides the fact that you just did like a 60-second spiel on what we do, there was not one question. The customer said nothing back to you. There was absolutely no interaction whatsoever.
Yeah.
Did they understand it? Did they have questions about it? Do they know what a polyurea is?
Right.
Do they know why you use acrylic flake instead of vinyl? Do they know what a polyaspartic is and why it protects everything? There's zero detail there, and obviously you didn't ask the questions of why they want it coated.
Yeah.
Why, how long have they been thinking about it? How did they hear about us? None of that information was gathered in the beginning to be able to tailor a demo towards that particular customer so you can give that information that's important and pertinent to them.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So
No.
even if he was talking about that later, let's say, we skip ahead 10 minutes and he gave the company story, which,
Yeah.
spoiler, he didn't do that. But
Spoiler.
let's say he
Whips.
did. How important is it to stick to a process of doing it in the way you said, where you ask them those questions and then dive into it? Does it really matter, or could he have, started that way and then asked the questions?
Well, I think it does matter, because what you're doing at that point is you're building a credibility for not only you, but the corporation. And as you're building that trust factor and building that value of who you are and who the customer is and why they're important to you and the company and how they can help them with whatever they have, whether it's an issue or just for aesthetics purposes, you keep building and building and building. And if you do it in a certain order, it comes to that climactic moment of, let's be able to help you and I'll show you how we can do it.
Right.
But if you start at one end and then jump to the back and then you jump back to the front and then you're back to the end again, you're excitement and not, and excitement and not, and excitement and not, and then not, because you've already built so much excitement in the beginning and you're not keeping it moving throughout to be able to make it grow over time.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's continue on. We're going to jump ahead another minute or so
Okay.
and hear this next little clip that I pulled out of here.
The stitches, which is what we use for cracks. So say like here's 22 feet. There's 22 stitches. 10 feet across, there's 30 stitches. Stitches are really what changes the price, because obviously we want to ensure that the crack's not going to come back. So that's where we basically concrete stitch those guys. And so it's not that we don't like to do those, but those can definitely change the price. Yeah. The good thing about this one, he's not too big. I'd venture he's about 275, maybe 300. Yeah, but I'll measure it just to be for sure.
So to give a little bit more context to this, the conversation that happens a little later on is, my concrete's perfect. I don't have any cracks, is what we identify in here. So why would we talk about stitches if it's something that they don't need at all? Like that, it's just confusing to
He
me.
could have asked about it too.
But why would he ask about a problem that he doesn't have?
Yeah, that's what I'm kinda
Remember, he only
confused,
talks for
too. Why would
9%.
I
He only talks for 9%
talk
of the
about
time.
stitches?
so
he didn't really
so
ask
in the
any
14
questions.
words that this customer said,
Yeah.
one of them happened to be, these cracks that I don't have. How would you fix them?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I talk about stitches if he doesn't have cracks. That's weird.
Besides the fact, don't ever tell anybody that the crack won't come back.
Well, when when you dive into the warranty, that's when you tell them. As far as what's covered in your warranty.
Okay.
Your chipping, peeling, delamination.
But once again, I mean, that's like walking up behind somebody and slapping them. Okay? You
yeah,
build that in the beginning. We'll be able to reinforce the concrete around this
Yeah.
crack to be able to help make it stronger. But we'll still never guarantee you that the crack won't come back. So you build that in the beginning. So
Right.
then later you can talk about it again.
right. Yeah. I'm curious though. I wonder why I talked about stitches if he didn't need stitches.
I mean, I can go to the part right before it.
yeah.
You want to listen to it? Let's
What
pull
made
it up.
me jump into stitches?
It's because you're nervous talking.
All right.
I'm usually not nervous
So-
with customers though.
So
I'm
here
really
was
good.
here was what he
I mean, it
asked.
sounds nervous. Yeah.
This is what he said that got you into this monologue, I'll call it, because there's
Okay.
actually another minute and a half you talked before you got into the stitches. But here's what the customer asked you.
Matter of fact, I think I've seen an old picture.
Uh-huh.
Old picture, and I don't think this is the original garage. I don't think this garage was here with the house.
That could be too. It was just the house, and then they added this
I
on
think
here.
so, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, man, looking at this here, especially old garages like mine, the garage is just a slab of concrete, and then they build the garage on top of that. So the first thing I see in here is you have a foundation wall. So that's what lets me know that this garage is not original.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it was.
Which is good, because obviously you got some solid concrete. The other thing too is, like you said, there's no cracks.
No.
No, there's no yeah, like you said, there's no
But
cracks.
you spent a minute talking about stitches.
About
So,
stitches.
Good thing is we got these
Well, I
stitches.
think I
you
was
don't
telling
need.
them about what the stitches are. That's what I think I was doing. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I would probably not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they don't need something, there's not much benefit in talking about something you don't need because
Yeah.
it just creates another thing for them to think about, right?
Confuses them.
Like it's one of those things Justin
Oh,
was just saying.
it's
It's
weird.
a detail, a detail you
Yeah.
had in there that now they're thinking, well, D'Angelo was talking about stitches, but I don't need stitches. Oh, but I need the
Yeah, but
verticals.
why did he talk
Verticals?
about them?
Yeah, why did he talk
it's
about
kind
them?
It's kind of weird. Do I need stitches? I don't know. I don't know what to
Yeah, I
do here.
confused the heck
I
out
don't.
of that
Yeah,
guy.
I don't know.
All right, so we go from stitches to a few minutes later. We're gonna wrap up into our closing sequence.
A few minutes later,
Yeah, we're at minute 13. That's where we start doing our closing sequence.
a minute 13.
No, 13 minutes.
Oh,
13 minutes in. Way back.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
It's here we go.
Oh, okay. So if we were to do this, is there any certain time frame you're looking at, or
Not really.
okay?
I was thinking that maybe when I think about getting everything moved and like, I could give you a fucking garage door open or something.
Yeah. Well, I know because like usually December through February, March, we're not doing any garages. But then again, how many years do we get 50, 60 degree weather in February?
Exactly.
So that's why we're doing a lot of garages now. So it is.
Yeah, I was
okay on
looking
our
at
schedule.
maybe a little more like the middle of the year, maybe when
Okay.
I have a vacation come up so I can get out of here.
Yeah.
He gave you actually that's I think the most he talks in this. The customer gave you the most amount of information that you could use. I mean, to sum it up, you're trying to get what's his urgency when he
Yeah.
wants to move forward with it, and he gave you a couple objections as to when he would do it. He wants to get out of there and not be there. He wants to get everything moved out of there first and do it in the summer. So
When he's on vacation, so then he has time to be able to move it or
Yep.
pull it out, pull it back, do whatever with it.
Oh yeah. Perfect
Yeah.
timing.
So good information, but Justin, what should he do with that then?
You need to be able to hold that and use that as a closing tactic. If we can get this project done June 12th for you, would we be able to earn your business?
Right.
Now, if the audience hasn't noticed, at this point, we're starting to kind of wrap up what the appointment would typically be. And we haven't talked about company story. at all in here. And we don't talk about company story ever, actually. The name of the company was never even mentioned to the customer, I don't think. Maybe at the very end we said who it was. But there was no, here's our company, the history behind it, a presentation given to them. Is that important, Justin? Or is that one of the things that's like an optional check? I can do it, I don't have to do
Nah,
it.
you don't have to ever do that. Nobody cares who we are.
They see it on your jacket, on your bag. No, I am good with that. I don't know how I don't know.
Now, since we don't have a company story to talk about, I'd like to ask you, Justin, what are the key points a company and a sales rep should try to hit in their company story to not just make it sound like it's, all about us and go on for 20 minutes about us? Because, customers don't want to hear that, and that probably doesn't have a benefit. But I'm sure there's some key overall points that a company should hit, right?
I think that when a sales rep is in a home giving a story about the company and talking about the company, it needs to be more personal. But I think it also needs to relate to the customer that you're talking to. So what I generally would tell people is, hey, I'm Justin, TSR Concrete Coatings. We've been around since 2016, late 2016, early 2017. When I started at this corporation, we had one truck, one trailer, one set of equipment. We'd only do a couple of these installs a week. And now, due to customers just like yourselves, we've coated over 15 million square feet, and we've been able to expand to 33 offices in over 20 states, and it's because of the products that we offer. Now, do we seem like the type of company you'd feel comfortable doing business with?
Ooh, you got the question in there. So you end everything with a question, right?
It's a tie down.
You want to let's talk about that a little bit. Why is that important? What do you?
It's a
what are you setting up for
justification,
later?
and you're setting it up to be able to pull out any excuses or anything that they're going to bring out to you later when you attempt to get them and attempt to earn their business. So if you can get those tie downs for every step that you go through of the process, as you go through the steps of the process, then everything changes because you've been able to eliminate objections before you actually get the objection.
Does that make sense? Do you usually ask after the company story a question like that? Is this a company you could see yourself doing business with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily say it like that. I just, kind of ask how they heard about us, things like that. And then from there, kind of generate those questions, which listening to this one was an old one, obviously. And
this was last week.
Really?
Yeah.
So why were we talking about January,
This brings up
February,
another great
March?
question.
Yeah.
Why are
I'm
we
so
talking
confused.
about past install
Yeah.
times when we're booked out to June already?
Yeah, okay. I'm
Maybe
confused myself.
Maybe it was a couple weeks ago, but it was
Yeah, I'm
not. It was not
confused
that long
myself.
ago. It's
Yeah, that's weird.
It's within. I mean, you guys have only been using Rilla for a couple months, so it has to have been within the last couple months because that's what we have this recorded on. But I want to go back to something you said there. You said I ask it like that, but I don't really ask that, right? You ask them, how'd you hear about us, how that. But those are very, I don't know, I'd say surface level questions, right? Where what Justin said is a true tie down of, is this a company you could see us doing business with? Why wouldn't you ask it like that?
Well, really, when you ask them how you heard about us, from there they're going to say, I seen it here. We seen the ads. We see you all over. And then that's when you kind of hit on, this is the company that you should want to do business with other than doing it yourself or, having some other company who doesn't have the reputation that we do.
So you're saying that you ask that particular style of question not after the company story portion of it, but after you've talked about 3 ways to do a project.
The bad part about me, and I'll be honest, there's no conventional 1, 2, 3, 4. I kind of might do a little bouncing, which obviously hearing it back now is not very good. But
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. I don't say it's a bad thing about you, but it could be something that is hurting you in the dollars in your pocket, right?
Could be, yeah.
Having a process is so important, and there's so many processes that work. Like Justin, I'm sure you'll admit your process that you teach, it's good, but is it the only one that works?
Absolutely not.
There's so many that work, but the important piece is having a process that you follow every single time, and you're robotic about it in the sense that you are always using that same process. And are you going to change some word tracks, change some emotion based on the customer? Absolutely. But A, B, C, D, E is the order you're going to go in, and that works. That works for you. That works for getting the sales. Versus when you're jumping all over, how do you know what works?
Yeah.
You get one here, you get one there, but
Yeah.
That's
you
the
don't
point
truly
that
know what's
I always
working.
try and get across when I'm trying to teach the system that I teach
Mm-hmm.
is I'm not teaching you what to say and how to say it. I'm giving you a guideline that I just need you to follow, that I need you to make it your own. Yes, there's a few phrases that I want you to say during your presentation, but those phrases are key phrases that will help you in the long run to eliminate objections at the end. But I still want you to do the process, but you can make it your own because in the end, it's just a conversation.
Right.
I don't want you to talk to me any different than you would a guy that you're meeting to talk to about a garage floor.
Right.
As long as you can keep the same tone of voice, the same facial expressions, your body language, all of that sort of stuff. That is the most important thing with carrying on a conversation and being able to help somebody is you can still go the process, but you just carry on a conversation while you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's key. Well, let's jump back in and hear how this continued on from there.
Wait, there's more. I thought he closed it.
Here we go. So the floor is 300 square feet. So anything under 300 square feet, you get this tab here, which is projects under 385. So that's why I said this guy's already at a minimum. But between the mender and the verticals, that's what raises the price there to make a little more bang for your buck. So basically, normally he'd be somewhere around 35 with that guy, but I'm just gonna stick it straight to the minimum. Because overall, he's not in too bad a shape.
Oh, boy.
One thing I do can say that I need to stop getting away from, even when the floor has pitting thing, I say it's not in too bad to make it seem like we can fix it. No,
it's
easy.
the worst floor I've ever seen in my life.
And that's what I think I need to get better. And I've been thinking that lately. You know, don't tell them, oh, your floor is in fair shape. It's in okay shape. You know.
Oh God!
It's
every
terrible.
time somebody opened a garage door when I was selling, every time, what the fuck did you do to this
Right.
thing? This is awful.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked to a concrete company?
Need to
Every
hit
time,
that a
because
little
all
more.
that's doing is it's building more value. Because now these people that everybody thinks it's how much money when you get there.
Yeah.
It's $1,000. It's $1,500.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's that. But when you smack them right in the face with what the fuck,
Exactly.
then now they're like, well, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive. Now it's like $2,000, $2,500.
Right.
But that's the whole purpose of giving the presentation and the way that you do it is you're building that value. So you tell them a little bit about you and the company,
Yeah.
and now it goes from $2,500 to like $2,800, and then you tell them a little bit about the the problems with their floor. And I'm a big proponent of this chalk thing now with drawing out and circling and doing all
chalk.
this stuff on the
Oh,
floor.
interesting.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But doing that and actually exacerbating the problems on their floor in their mind.
Yeah.
So it goes from $2,800 to $3,000, and then you tell them about the products and how it can help save their floor and how we can rebuild it to make it better, and then everything that we can do to stop it from going bad. Now I'm at $3,500, and I just keep building the value of what we're doing. So I'm not talking about, oh, this little tab here, it says I got to charge you $3,500. This guy.
That's not an ideal way to present price.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fucking not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
It didn't result in a sale. Not endorsed.
Yeah.
D, I'm going to be honest. Even
That's
within
terrible.
listening to the first 18 minutes of this, you should have sold this.
Yeah.
But I think that's a key. Whatever industry you're in is to not just say, "Hey, it looks okay," because they're
Yeah.
getting in their mind the value's not there.
Exactly.
If you're like, "Oh, it's really not that bad," or "Your concrete, I've never seen it so smooth before,"
Yeah.
maybe they're thinking, "Well, I guess maybe I just paint it, or it doesn't look
Yeah.
that bad."
Yeah, maybe I don't need to do this. But if you tell them how bad it is, oh
Exactly.
man, this is the worst one I've seen all week.
I'm excited to see how beautiful this is when it's done.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
going to be a huge transformation.
Yeah.
Build
that's-
those in the excitement in their head, right?
Make them
Yeah.
think they need it instead of just want it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I mean, but that's what builds the urgency. And like
Yeah.
I said, this chalk thing, Jeff found it out. He was at World of Concrete or something, and
Yep.
he was emailing us back and forth.
Yeah.
I was doing a training, And then we put it out on the text string about the first person that does this and takes pictures on it. We gave a
remember.
little spiff to.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I think this is the most ingenious thing I've ever seen in my life when it comes to selling concrete coatings.
Going to get some chalk.
Yeah, because I mean,
Revolutionary.
it's honestly it is, and it's
Yeah.
something so simple that I honestly feel stupid for not thinking of it. But to be able to look at somebody's floor, even if there's only just a few things that's wrong with it,
Right.
if you use that chalk, you circle it, you draw like stripes through it to make sure that they understand this place has salt damage, even writing salt damage on the floor. Even if you don't sell it, those people have to look at that shit for 3-4 days after you leave.
Yeah.
They're going to keep thinking about it and you.
Yeah.
And it sets it up for a callback or a hatch or something like that.
Do you write your phone number on it?
No,
Write your
but-
phone number on
no,
it.
but I tell you what I have seen people do is like when it comes to the stitches, obviously this guy didn't need stitches, but when it comes to that, like drawing them out on the floor
Oh,
so
where they're
they
gonna
get
go.
an idea of where they're going to be, how many there is,
Yeah.
because it builds the value of how much work we're doing. So then it increases the value that they understand that they're going to pay.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
All right.
saying it's okay condition.
Yeah.
Well,
Instead of saying, oh, your
Hearing
floor's
it,
really
yeah,
not that
yeah,
bad.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm still going to hit this little guy here and, you know, it's
Yeah.
under 385 feet.
Well, let's get into where you actually presented the full price right after that conversation. And Justin, I'll be curious if this is how you trained him to present price.
Even with that there, he sticks you right around there. So then with the discounts they have going on, which I'm sure you've seen those guys, he drops you down to the minimum, which is basically $29.50.
So the first price we presented is the minimum.
The discount
Yeah. Discounted price.
went straight for the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how this is supposed to go?
No.
Why do you think you do that?
Yeah.
Why,
well,
like, why-
why do you say it's not supposed to go that way?
Because, you know, obviously you want to build the value, but it all depends, you know, certain situations, if it's small, you know, you really sometimes can have a hard time saying it's going to be 3,500, it's going to
Why?
be $4,000.
Why?
It's filling out the customer.
D'Angelo, it's not your fucking money.
Yeah.
You don't know how much money these people have.
Yeah.
They could have $100,000 sitting in a mattress and fucking $10 bills.
Yeah.
Okay? You have no idea. It's not your money. Stop thinking about how much money you can afford and what's comfortable for you.
Mhm.
Just give them the fucking price. Okay? That's the whole reason behind giving a full price. You need to be able to build the value. This is what we feel this product is worth because we know what it can do. So, for us to be able to get this project done just like I described, we can get it done for $35,08.99. Okay? The other thing was he never told you no.
Yeah.
So he didn't give you a reason that he wasn't going to buy it $3,500 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say I need to think about it. He didn't give you an excuse of anything. You drop money just to drop money because it was more comfortable for you.
Trying to close them. Yeah.
No, you're not.
But when you say you're trying to close him, how does that? What are you trying to do with
Going straight to
that
the
closing
point,
him?
you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, and that's where you get into the trouble of filling different customers out. You know, because he might have told me something about another estimate, or I was this estimate, or, you know, something like that. So ultimately, that's probably why I went straight for it.
Okay, but even in the fact of getting another estimate, is there anybody else out there that does anything exactly like we do?
No.
Will there ever be anybody else out there that does anything exactly like we do?
No.
So then we are different.
Oh, yeah.
So then should we all be the same price?
Oh, no.
Are we worth more money?
Oh, yeah.
Then you need to believe that. And your job as a salesperson is to make them believe that.
Right.
Make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And that's when the sale happens.
Yeah.
Racing to the bottom if he was looking for more quotes, which
Yeah.
he didn't say anywhere in here. He was
Yeah.
looking for more quotes. I believe this was your first. You were his first one out, and he never said he was looking for more estimates. You just went straight to the bottom on the price, which is something that on every single person we've had on here they've done. So don't feel like
Yeah. We're not
Like, you
we're not
know,
attacking you.
I mean, and that's where, you know, because there's some you can listen to, and I give them this, and then go down the scenario. You know, this is your price that's good for a year. This is good for financing. And then that's where they say, oh, well, I'm paying cash, and I hit them with the discount. But usually on those smaller ones, I don't do that. And I mean, you need to get away from it. Like Justin said, you know, just give them
Stick
this,
to the process.
and then this is your discount. And yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think if you can make that piece just this is how I always do it, no matter what the size of the project is, what the customer says, like that is the number one area that as we've done these, we hear people fall down on that they just rush to the discount and rush to the bottom. And then you have no other ammunition to try to close them, right? You shot your shot. Yeah. That's what I got from there. Where are you going to go?
See, and I was the same way when I was in sales back before concrete coatings. When I would sell roofing and windows and bathrooms, I could sell either a $50,000 roof, or I could sell you 5 windows that would be like $5,000.
Right.
Anything in the middle of that, I was completely fucked because I couldn't do it, because I couldn't fathom the amount of money that people would spend. And I could sell you 5 windows, and I could wait 90 days and go back and sell you 5 more windows. And I went back to the same house 5 times to sell 5 windows.
Oh, wow.
So I sold these people 25 windows because in my mind at that time, I couldn't afford more than 5 windows.
Right.
So when I would present a price that was more than that, it was in the back of my own head, well, I can't spend 10 grand. Well, I bet these people can't either. So then I would always be able to discount it down, drop it down, drop it down. Well, how about we get these 5 done?
Right.
And then make sure you like them. Once you like them, then I'll come back and we can work on we can work on some more. So then that was my problem with it, and I was the 5 window king all day long. I mean,
But that's what you could afford.
Yeah.
Jeff even says it, and he talks about it still. I mean,
Wow.
he even tells the story of me going back to the same house 5 times to sell 5 windows each time,
Oh, wow.
because at that time I couldn't afford anymore.
Yeah.
So it was in the back of my head, the pricing, and as soon as I saw a price tag, I was like, man. And my whole body language would change. Everything would change. And then I'd get faster in my price presentation. Well, we can get these 10 windows done. It's going to be X amount of money. And what's your thoughts on that? Oh,
That's a lot.
Oh, that's a lot, huh? Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree. How about we just do these 5 and we can get this done for 35,
Right.
and then we can get these done for you. Fair enough. Fucking awful, but it's exactly how
Yeah.
it went. And then I see it on a daily basis. I listen to it on a daily basis when I hear reps do it, and I can hear it in the back of their head. Obviously, they're not saying it, but every time they give a price, when they're looking at a 200 square foot, a 300 square foot project, and they're like, well, normally it's this, but we can do it for this.
Right. Because you're thinking in your head, I wouldn't pay that much for this project.
Exactly.
But you're assigning what your worth on it is to do that project on something that's not yours,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's not your money.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I hear a lot of reps and more of these appointments. We talk about financing because at least there's some mention of that. There was really no mention at all of financing here. I think a lot of time that also comes into play of where, maybe you assume, and you can tell me whether this is true or not, who's going to finance a $3,000 project?
I've had people do it.
You've had people do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you present financing with every single price that you offer for an MSRP
Getting
price?
better with it now, especially from listening to the Rillas and then, just wanting to make more sales because you taking sale away, not offering finance, and so,
So it's called an ease of purchase.
yeah,
The easier you can make it to buy, the easier they will buy.
right.
So then if you can offer financing with every single MSRP price that you give,
Yeah.
then it just gives them an easier option to
Right.
be
Yeah.
able to get it done.
Yeah.
With, an extended financing to make it more comfortable or feasible for their, financial responsibilities, or even a short window, if they have another expense that's coming up, but they really want what you have,
Yeah.
maybe a 6-month or a 12-month, no or something, something like that. But if you offer it every single time, then you at least get that answer. When you don't offer it, that's information that they don't have
Right.
Exactly.
that could have helped.
Right.
Right. It's never a good scenario when you either assume they don't need financing
Mm-hmm.
or they assumed you didn't offer it,
Yeah.
but they can't afford it. When maybe if you would have just offered $35 a month, they'd be like, oh, wow, yeah, that's nothing. I can afford that. That's less than I pay for my phone.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Especially nowadays.
But all right, let's continue on. We got a few more of these recordings to listen
make
in
it
on.
stop.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Make it stop, he
I'm
says.
just kidding.
What was that?
So if we do want to book it, you don't pay that all at once. You just do your deposit, and then when they actually come do the job, that's when you pay the balance. Like I said before, everything we do comes with that warranty, so everything we do comes with the contract. So there's no gray area, except a little bit of gray on the floor. Yeah. Yep. We try really hard to be the best, but
Try really hard to do the best.
You know, hearing that little slogan out there doesn't sound as good
It doesn't sound
anymore.
as
Everything is black and white except for the gray on the I don't know what I was saying.
I mean, it's a little chuckle personal thing. I don't think it's the end of the world, but what
Oh,
you know,
it's
what
the
I
end of that.
what I had this.
It's the end of that.
We won't be hearing any more of those in your Arillas.
That's fair.
You know, I had this labeled on my end as asking for the sale. Listening back to it, I don't know where you asked for the sale, but this was the closest thing there was to that. Is this an appropriate way to?
No,
Ask
it's
for the
not,
business?
because there's no question there to get it.
didn't ask.
There's
Yeah.
there's not even asking for the sale at all. You know, can I earn your business?
Yeah.
You know, is this a price you'd feel comfortable with us getting this project done for you?
Right.
You know, anything along those lines.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in there for it. So I mean, like I said, honestly,
Sounds like I didn't ask it.
I can understand why you didn't sell this.
Well, here's what the customer said. We got to get some of his I'm playing
I was gonna say,
100%
does he
of the
ever talk?
customer's footage. Yeah.
Well, these 19 words.
Well, you got a business card, D'Angelo?
yes, sir.
Appreciate it. I know you're blowing out. I'll sing in summertime.
Yeah.
If we couldn't hear that, he said, "You got a business card?" I'm thinking summertime, sometime. And then
So at this point, this would be like a perfect opportunity for the, oh, really? So soon?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're pretty serious about getting this done then?
Yeah.
yeah, in the summer, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. And then you can jump right into your first price drop. But you did 3 price drops already because you're at the
Right.
minimum. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Where are you gonna go from there?
yeah.
And he kind of knows there's no negotiating room here, so this talkative gentleman didn't really have anything to ask you on there.
Talkative gentleman.
Well, I mean, he didn't really get the opportunity to talk,
No.
so it's
Yeah. D'Angelo's a talkative gentleman.
Well, yeah, you are.
Right.
yeah. All right. Well, let's listen to how you finished up the appointment. That one last try for the
One
sale.
last.
All right. Only thing I would say, you know, if it is something you guys want to do, just, you know, give me a call. We can get on the books and get the contracts and all the hard stuff squared away. Because from there, it's easy to change the date, you know, because you're already in the system. It's just a matter of a phone call. Yeah. Pretty simple. Any other questions,
No,
concerns for me?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
try to book it sometime this summer and get her done.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Will be a sale sometime this summer.
If he doesn't buy from someone else,
Yeah.
Probably already.
he probably
did.
bought from someone else. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably called the next person
gonna
out and
send
they
Sean
said,
out
"Well,
there
why don't
and
we
he's
get you on
gonna
the
get it."
schedule today?"
Yeah, I'll see it on Sean's Facebook.
Yeah.
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 What could have we done there to change that? When obviously this customer, they didn't seem to have a problem with the product, with the company. Like, even though we didn't talk much about that, he genuinely seemed to want it.
I mean, it's a great opportunity for a pie close. This
What's a
is-
pie close?
So in talking about, you know, it's just like exactly what you were about to do with talking about the company, the product, the warranty, making sure that he was fine with all of that, asking, you know, make sure it wasn't you that was the problem, and then getting him to justify that it is just the price that may be an issue with him. Therefore, you know, hey, you know, if this project was $200, we'd have done this last week, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, we'd have had it done already. Well, I'm at this time, 29.50. Obviously, you can't go anywhere from there. But if it was a higher price tag, if you were still at MSRP cost, well, I'm at 35.08. You know, $200. We'd have had it done last week. Where do I need to be in order to earn your business, in order to get you on the books? And he's going to shoot you a number. And at that time, if you wouldn't have dropped your pants already, it may have been $3,000.
Right, and then you're like, yeah, yes, in your mind, yes,
Yeah.
it's a done deal. I can do this, but you still don't say that, right? Like,
Yeah.
if let's say let's role play that. If the customer would have said, yeah, I mean, I was hoping this to be around $3,000, should D'Angelo say, well, I can do that for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't exactly go quite into that and just
Don't get
drop your
too
pants
happy.
again.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can start talking about different types of promos with the sign in the yard and the pictures and referral bonuses and reviews on our Google or Facebook or something like that.
They have to
and
earn
make him earn it. You know, you can't give money away just to give money away.
Yeah.
It has to be justified. You have to get something in order to give something. So, I mean, if he would have agreed to a sign in the yard and, you know, taking pictures to use on our social media. So if I can get this project done for 31 with you allowing me to use a sign in your yard and taking the pictures to be able to use on our social media, would I be able to earn your business?
Asking for the sale.
Right.
Is that something you could see yourself implementing, asking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Need to, because I'll be honest, I'm not good at that. I never am.
It's tough,
Yeah.
right? It's tough to talk about
it's
money.
the biggest mistake that all salespeople
Exactly.
make is that they don't ask for the business.
Yeah.
And how are you ever going to truly get it if you don't ask for it?
Exactly.
Well, you know, apparently we'll get it 46% of the time still. But if we did ask for it,
Listening to that, I don't
I
know.
would-
Honestly, listening to that, I'm surprised at 46.
so
I was thinking
do
maybe
you ever make a
36.
sale?
Yeah.
So think what we could do
That's
though. If you
horrible.
implemented a process you used every single time and you presented financing and you presented price confidently, asked for the business. I mean, shit, I bet you could get to 55 or 40, 55, 60% close rate on these deals. There's got to be another 10+% out there you're leaving on the
There's
table.
a whole nother
easy.
tier
Yeah.
to you, D, and I know you have it, and we've talked about it in the past, that I know you have the ability to be one of the greatest salespeople here.
Yeah.
I know you do, but you step on your own feet. So
Every sale's important. Even
every
the,
single one.
the little,
Even the little ones.
even the one
right?
where you have to click this little tab here.
Right. Well, you know, I think before we started this, you said this last week you were $800 away from bonus, right? $800
From hitting the next tier. Yeah.
for hitting the next tier that would pay a decent bonus, right? Probably more than this one job would have
Yeah.
paid. Not to say this was
I
in
ended
the
up
same
getting
week.
it though. I drove to Forreston afterwards, but we won't talk about that.
But
Yeah.
the point being, every sale matters because you never know what that one is going to be. Even if it's a small
Exactly.
one and that commission maybe doesn't seem like, this is the minimum. It's not not that much worth it. It's the whole everything together that could push you to the next level. So it's just so important to treat every appointment the same exact way, regardless of the size and the customer. So, all right. Well, before we end today,
100%.
that's the end of the appointment. From there, you walked out and didn't close it.
It's over.
But D'Angelo, what's the number one thing you're going to take away from today? And when you get out there and start running again tomorrow, what are you going to do differently?
You know, I always tell everybody, in order to be good, you always want to learn. You know what I mean? Like Chad said on the last one, well, the one before last one, even, you know, the greats are always practicing. So, like, that's what I used to always tell Justin. Don't tell me when I'm doing good. Tell me when I'm doing bad. So that way, obviously, I need to ask, can I earn your business? You know, so
Absolutely.
that's definitely one thing I'll take away.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to dive into the next Rilla that
I
we'll be
still gotta
hearing
do
tomorrow. So, no, Justin and I will both be listening in tomorrow to make sure you're asking for the business.
Yeah. So make sure
Awesome.
you're using your Rilla.
I always use my Rilla. I love Rilla.
Go Rilla. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Let's give D'Angelo his first call closer score. So for his company story, well, there wasn't one. Literally no company story. So I have to give him a 0 out of 10 for the company story. Now, building value, I mean, there was a little bit throughout, but there was also a lot of talking, a lot of nonsense, talking about a lot of things we didn't really need to talk about. So that's going to be a 2 out of 10. Now, for the closing sequence, I don't even know if we can call what D'Angelo did a true closing sequence. I mean, heck, he didn't even ask for the sale once. So that's going to, again, have to be a 0 out of 10. Overall, that brings D'Angelo's first call closer score to a 1 out of 10. When you're ready to sit in this hot seat, leave us a comment below or email us at casting@firstcallcloser.com for your chance to be on First Call Closer.